We were going to call you in at the last meeting because two of them were on vacation, and I was going to tell you that I already took care of it and got rid of two of them, just to make myself look good here.
Nice try, Mr. Mayor. Honorable residents of the Village of Alden and esteemed members of this board, this village board, I'm grateful for the honor to be here with you this evening to discuss the manner in which we govern ourselves here in Erie County and this project in which I've been engaged now for the past several months. Just by way of beginning, everyone who is thankful to be alive on this magnificent evening, just raise your hand and say aye. Come on. Aye. Everyone who's grateful that spring has finally arrived here in Western New York, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. And most important, everyone who knows that the Village of Alden is the greatest village in America, raise your hand and say aye. Aye. All right, Mr. Mayor, my work is done here tonight. This is the 39th stop on our visits to each of the 45 municipalities throughout the county of Erie, and I can tell you it's been a remarkable education. I wish you could have all been along for it, because if you were, you'd reach the same conclusion that I have, which is not only is this the greatest city and region in America, but our public servants are among the finest in America, and what they do is great work. The services that we receive here in the village is terrific. We're going to talk a little bit about how they can perhaps do it a little bit better. Although there are two people here tonight who have been along for all the visits, two of my students from UB Law School. I'd like to introduce Heather New and Dan Lesniewski, who are the intellectual architects of this presentation. Can we give them a round of applause? They do terrific work. They've been there every night. Heather, are you looking forward to this ending so you no longer have to put up with me?
I'm actually leaving next Friday for Europe, so I'm going all out of the country to get away from it.
I was unaware of that. Well, as Heather does, and Dan does, and we all do, I love Western New York. And I try to express that affection by at times suggesting ideas and reforms by which we can take this great community of ours and make it even greater. And in that spirit, may I tell you a story. It's a story of an idea for an American community. Now, this idea was first envisioned by those Native Americans who first settled here along what they called the Beau Fleur, the beautiful river, the mighty Niagara, that flows just beyond us. And then this idea was given shape and purpose by the Erie Canal, the internet of its time, because the day it opened, it brought the world together. And it was the exclusive production of the blood and toil of so many Western New Yorkers. And as we all know, to this day, its praises are sung by school children around the world. And this community of which I speak, then, this people of whom I speak, then together they defined humanity in perhaps our nation's most inhumane moment, the American Civil War, when the most daring expression of human freedom, the Underground Railroad, came right up through our community, up through Springville, up through Orchard Park, through the city of Buffalo, as Western New Yorkers risked their lives so that others might be free. And then together we harnessed the power of the mighty Niagara and we lit the world. And in the process, we transformed America's manufacturing might into a military power that got into boats, crossed the Atlantic, and saved civilization. And through it all, we gave the world the gifts of Olmsted, Sullivan, Richardson, Lloyd Wright, and E.B. Green. Mark Twain edited our newspaper. Scott Fitzgerald sang our praise. Joyce Carol Oates shaped our minds. Nelson Baker sculpted our souls. Harold Arlen moved us. Mary Talbot lifted us. Roswell Park healed the past, and Herbert Hauptman revealed the future. And during the course of it all, and you know this better than anyone, during the course of it all, we blackened our lungs in steel mills, we scooped grain in elevators, we bent our backs low in fields, and we went to early graves. We've sent 2 Western New York men to the White House, and now countless young boys and indeed young women into the ages, in battlefields around the globe, from Antietam to Afghanistan, including now the 27 young Western New Yorkers who since September 11th, 2001 got on a plane at the Buffalo Airport or the Niagara Falls Air Force Base, went off to fight terror, and never came home. And most important, and I mean most important, we filled our idea of an American community with the ethos and ethic of a fiercely family-oriented people who love their children and make life choices in support of their interests. Throughout the world, there is no place like us, there's no sense of place to match us. Now, that's not Chicago's story. That's certainly not New York City's story. That's not Washington, D.C. story. That's your story. That's our story. That's the Western New York story. And it seems to me that anyone hears that story would say to themselves, my heavens, what a place, what a people. They must be going great guns there. They must have a great economy. I want to be part of that. I want to move there. But as we all know, as we meet here this evening on this glorious spring night, The truth could not be further from that. So by way of beginning, we're going to take a quick look at what's happened to that magnificent narrative, that great Western New York story, under our watch. Because we all have to remember, not only our elected servants, but all citizens, we're all temporary stewards of that story, and to which we owe an obligation to advance it and make sure that it not only is sustained, but indeed soars.